Heart Warriors! Welcome back to another Heart to Happiness. This one is a really fun project. It is indeed a project. I've been calling these interviews, I've been calling this a summit, I've been calling it a project because it is what you make of it. So there's 20 plus of these interviews. This is probably going to be my favorite because it brings out this and me, which you guys have seen me do the unicorn stuff a lot. This is one of the questions that I had sent out for our guests today. And his answer to me was, grow up? No way. He is currently 10 years old and he is Dr. Ken Erickson's son. And Dr. Ken, as you guys know, I interviewed him. You may have already seen the video, the interview. Maybe you haven't yet, but go back and listen to it because it'll give you some sense. I think it's a great transition as to why Ethan is where he is and what this secular family is doing for one another and why I'm so inspired by them. So Dr. Ken Erickson is the chiropractor in Irvine, of which I work on their team as a nutritionist. And I'm so grateful that for my pain, which is my back pain, for the reason I found him. So this is, the silver lining and finding the blessing and everything. But without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Ken Erickson back to the show and Ethan Erickson for president. Hi, guys.
How about that? Hello.
Hi. That's it right there. Do it again. Make your noise. Hi. Yes. Hi. Now, when I first tuned in for this interview this morning, you guys, that's what I heard first. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're here. It just brought this little playful likeness out of me. And anytime anybody's interviewed, sometimes there's a little bit of nerves or excited nerves or nervous nerves. That's what they call them, nervous. So Ethan, you're 10 years old. There's a reason you're here. There's a reason why you're, first of all, here on this planet. There's a reason why you're in this body. There's a reason why you're here with us today in this happiness project. So what do we want to talk about today? What is it that you are so passionate about, that you are relentless about your message, that you're pursuing with reckless abandon?
Our card game.
Please welcome on stage Ethan Erickson. Welcome, Ethan. Your idea, right? And so much that we let you license one of our biggest brands, Magica. Can you please you have in mind for this card game?
Hello, San Francisco and everyone online. Basically, my dad and I created a card game just like Magica, combining elements into spells, blowing up creatures too.
So, I'm sold on this idea, obviously. But why do you call it Magica Mayhem?
That's the best part. Your spells can backfire and turn into mayhem, creating all kinds mostly to my dad.
Oh, sounds like you play Magic
all the time. My mom thinks that we play too many video games.
Oh yeah, you do have to listen to your mom. Is she here?
Yeah.
So Ethan's mom, you've raised a really fine young man right here, and he has to continue though to play some game research. Once you're a game developer, actually playing other people's games. So how idea for this game?
Basically, my dad and I needed a way to play our favorite games without electricity when the zombie apocalypse comes.
It makes sense. It could happen any day now when you watch the primaries, right? That was cheap. I'm sorry about that. So we should hurry up and make this game away. So what you can do right now is that Ethan has a Kickstarter running, and go in and support his game. We're providing the links for everyone who right now. So I guess that you're now a game developer. You launched a game on stage together with maybe the best publisher in the world. So how does it feel to be a game developer?
Awesome!
Already a valued partner, right? Thank you so much, Ethan. Actually, I started a company in the games industry when I was about your age as well.
Really? How old?
I was 14.
Better late than never, I guess, huh?
Are you even old enough to be all the beer and everything?
I gotta run. Sorry. Oh, bye.
Ethan Erickson, people.
Ethan, you seem as though you have no fear. You seem as though nothing can hold you back from pursuing this and sharing this with the world. And adults my age, teenagers, 3 years from now, or maybe 3, 4, 5 years from now, that's when I remember going back to my childhood. I started to care what other people thought more than I did when I was your age, 5 years old. And then now I'm just coming back. So it's like this, I think we have different phases in our life where we go in, I care, I don't care, I care, I don't care. And caring, not caring doesn't mean that you don't care about people. It means that everybody has an opinion and you don't have to like it, but I also don't have to like you not liking it either. I don't have to absorb that. So the way that you inspired me as a businesswoman and a woman with a passion project like yours is when I saw this video, and I'm going to transition over to it now. When I saw the video that you had first posted about trying to raise money for the project, I thought, and I was in the middle of this, doing a lot of videos, getting this video ready to introduce my concept, my Heart to Happiness concept to the world too, and doing multiple takes. I think I've done about 18 takes and rewritten the script 3 times. And Ethan, you didn't. So I want to show you guys this first little clip so you can see this first 1 minute thing, and then I'll transition over to the other one later. So watch this 1 minute video and come right back.
Hi, my name's Ethan Erickson. I'm a 4th grader in Orange County, California, in the United States of America. My dad and I have an idea that will change Magica completely. A Magica card game! This isn't just any card game, though. This game is just like Magica. You strategically combine elements into spells to destroy and humiliate your foes. For example, you can add the Massive Mayhem Atom Pack to really amp up the random craziness that Magica is known for. Of course, you don't have to get your own hands dirty. You can summon elementals to do your dirty work for you with the Summoner Spree add-on pack. We have designed the basic card decks, multiple add-on packs, and other products for your Magica fans to enjoy. There's one more thing that no other card game has. You guessed it, Magica's trademark humor. We have come up with a Magica Mayhem card system that causes your spells to blow up in your face, save your butt from disaster, or make you pee your pants with laughter. There's only one thing missing. You! We need your help. Partner with us and we can summon, explode, and laugh our heads off to victory in every way possible. So feel free to contact us to learn more. Thanks a lot.
How much fear do you think that kid had? Did it look like any? Does it look like he's just excited talking about one of his best friends? Does it look like he's pursuing something of the heart? Yeah, that's what I thought too. So Ethan, you inspired me with that. You seemed like you had 0 fear. And when I was younger, we wore these shirts that said no fear. I'm not sure if that brand is still widely viral anymore, but no fear. So when you were writing that script and your dad told you to go write something, to propose this to this large company, how did you feel? And what brought the script to fruition?
I was inspired. I was inspired to go out and do that and follow my dreams. It's like a family passion. We kind of all share it. And I kind of wanted to stand up for the 10-year-olds of the nation and show that you adults are not the only ones that can make money in the house.
I did not know that was his inspiration. It's good to know.
Ethan for president. Interview done. So do you see adults that are uninspired, Ethan, that it makes you sad to see them frightful or intimidated or not following their dreams?
Yeah, a lot.
Where do you,
it's pretty sad.
Where do you see these adults?
Don't say me.
I'm trying to save my dad from his life.
They're just kind of everywhere. You have the people who can just like hang out in the house, but you also have the people who can go outside and do something, and instead of sitting on the couch for the rest of their life.
Do you see this on TV or do you see this in real life?
I see this in real life. It's not on TV. Those people are kind of built to do that. And in real life, sometimes just there's so many people out there that 6 in 10 of them are going to be sitting on the couch.
Ooh, did you do a study?
Just now.
You see how
study.
There's something that I want to just observe in what you just did. You didn't do a study. I knew the answer is no, unless you just read something on the internet, which, as we all three know, the internet is accurate with everything. You know, the internet is where you find all of the answers. And henceforth, you could probably just adjust yourself at home without a chiropractor. Just kidding. Insert sarcasm. So what happened right there is I didn't know whether or not he was going to say, I did a study or I read a study, or I'm just, I just made that one up. But how much passion just came from him and how much he just sold that without even having the real answer is what is going to make him successful. He believes in what he's saying. He has conviction, but there's also, bullshitting people versus, giving them truth. So I think that that's what I adore so much about you, is that you're inheriting this from your father, that he's full of truth and he really cares. And people, of course, are going to listen when you carry confidence and you have this straight up posture, right, Dr. Ken? Instead of,
right.
This, we've talked about that, where, more confidence hormones are released by the adrenals when you actually sit more with more confidence, as opposed to this. So you can actually trick your brain into being more confident. If you don't have what Ethan's got, maybe you could try that. And go see Dr. Ken, making sure your thoracic spine's open. So when you went upstairs and you were inspired to write this script to sell this idea to a major corporation, were you scared at all, Ethan?
Not really. On camera, it's not as bad.
So what percentage inspired were you versus what percentage scared and a little nervous were you?
I was probably like, for the pitch video, I was probably like 10% scared, maybe 90% confident. And it's just on camera at home, it's not nearly as bad as maybe like doing something live, or all you have to do is write a script, and anybody can do that. To go out and just do it. Like, what could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong? What do you think people think could go wrong?
A lot of things. People have this habit of thinking of like the worst possible thing, and it's really, really, really bad. And if you don't think of what's good, you're never gonna get there. You just have to believe in yourself, and it happens. It works, but you just don't believe in yourself, you're not gonna get anything done. And that's just the truth.
The proverbial believe in yourself concept. Where did you learn that from?
I learned it from him. From the day that I joined the Cub Scouts, from the day that I was born almost. He's been telling me, you don't give up. And it's just been driving it in me. And now it's just like, after you have something made, it just inspires you to go on even more. And even more, and even more.
So would you consider yourself a perfectionist?
Not really.
So when you make a mistake, what is your self-talk? A mistake. When you make a mistake, or when you do something and you're like, I wasn't such a big fan of that. What's your self-talk? What's your mind saying?
Try it again. Like one of those claw machines. Try again. Give us the rest of your money.
Oh, yeah, those ones that you put in like inflation. Now it's like $1,000, and it was like a quarter when I was a kid. Those things. Then you're going to get those like 10-cent stuffed animals. Those things. Ooh, God, that was a big driver for me. He falls for them. That's your next invention. You can
persevere for those. Persevere for other stuff, not that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dr. Ken, the day that you asked him to write the script, I want you to tell me the story about how it all came to fruition when you guys came up with this idea to pitch it, raise the money, and then the dream coming true, which was, I'll let you share. So you asked him to go write the script. What was going through your mind?
We worked on the card game quite a bit earlier. It was several months earlier, I think, actually. And we got to the point where we needed to have their permission, and we enjoyed playing with it. We were doing it like, it'd be kind of fun if we could sell this. And I was telling Ethan that we had to get their permission because they own the intellectual property. We're basing our card game on an existing computer game. So we needed their permission in order to make it. And I had a hard time kind of finding out who to contact. I tried calling the phone number, but they're in Sweden, so everything was in Swedish. It was a little intimidating. We didn't have like a direct email address, so we had to do a lot of work to kind of find out who we were supposed to even contact. And we ended up finding through another source, we found that they have kind of this hidden pitch page where you can actually submit your game ideas. And so I went and we decided we had to kind of submit that. And I knew it was going to be something where we couldn't just, they make video games, they don't make card games. So I figured they're probably going to say no immediately. So we needed to have something to be a little bit unique. And I remember we were kind of hemming and hawing and taking a long time with this. And I think my wife, Daly, basically kind of says, like, you guys just need to just do something, so we said, okay.
Just do something.
We got a full day. Like, you don't have to speak Swedish and call them, or just send it out and see what happens. Or if you like the video idea, make the video and just get it out there. And it was, and we had a little bit of time because it was during kind of the Christmas break. And I kind of just said, okay, let's make it happen. And I said, Ethan, head upstairs to go write the script. Come up with something that we can do. It's not gonna be very long, but we need to kind of explain to them what the project is and why they should back it and why they should give us permission to do it. And he kind of went upstairs, and I think he came back down within a few minutes. It was like 5 minutes or something. And then, and I said, there's no way you could have written this, in 5 minutes. I didn't even look at it. I just said, go back upstairs, come back down to me when it's done. He's like, no, I actually did pretty good. So he goes back up to his room, kind of just sits there and spins around in his chair that he'll do when he's kind of bored. And then he goes over to mom's like, Mom, Dad's not reading my script, and I've already written it, and I think it's great. And she reads it, like, this is awesome. Like, it's like, honey, read his script. I think he did a good job. And then he actually, we ended up doing the entire video that we filmed was basically 95% of all of his words. We actually have on the Kickstarter website, we have a picture of his handwritten script in his little notebook that he keeps his like business ideas and kind of game ideas and stuff like that. And then next to it, we have the typed up version that I edited maybe 2 sentences of. And then that's what we ended up doing with the video. And then you want to talk about actually filming it?
Yeah, basically all we did was we had the camera. It was like right over here, literally.
Yeah.
And he held the iPad, which we had copied the script onto, and he just kind of held it above the camera, and I just looked from it and down, and it was we just like 2 or 3 takes.
Yeah.
I think three takes.
I think the first take we had him I was just gonna have him read him from the book, and he was doing such a good job reading and looking up at the camera. I thought, you could probably just do it without the script in front of you at all. So then we just had him do it off the iPad. And I think we did two takes using the iPad, 1 take using the held notebook, and I think it was perfect. I wouldn't change a thing.
That's awesome. That's and the first thing I'm thinking, is I want to see the blooper. Those are the most fun ones because we get to see other people mess up. And mess up. Notice how mess up, right? It's like the proverbial, you cannot succeed unless you mess up. I don't know. They say like 1 out of 10 ideas will manifest, and the other 9 out of 10 is just the practice to that 10. And so like Ethan, do you feel like you had do you feel like you've had a number of other ideas or inventions that you have been creating that you just kind of etch a sketch and you went, no, let's just do this one instead. I don't know about this one. Or you tried it and you tried to execute it and then it flopped and you started another one? Can you think of a couple examples?
One time I tried drawing, and so I drew like pictures from my favorite video games, and they were like little stick heads with square heads, stick men with square heads, and I was like, I don't think that this is my thing. and then I went on to the next thing.
Does it tire you to see families not connecting, Ethan, where this kid's over here, that kid's over there, here, go watch TV for 5 hours? How does that affect you?
I think it's not very good. It's just kind of sad that families are constantly separating. Like, people are like getting divorced, and then the kids like in like 3 houses at once, and it's just they're so separated, and they don't have like ideas like this where they can go out and venture because the dad is like sitting playing his unicorn game.
And that's me. That's me. Are you judging me? Just kidding. Yeah, I love that you said unicorn. So, and Dr. Ken, you've seen the same thing, right? And this is what you've seen born from him. And you probably have a lot of friends that you're experiencing, witnessing them divorce, and a lot of heartbreak.
That's sad. It's actually been pretty close to us for a few years now, and it's and my wife and I, we've been married 21 years, and we've had times where there've been challenges. We work together, and we had to kind of learn how to work together and do it in a happy way. And we've but we've kind of found that with every like little minor stumbling block we come across, we work together to kind of overcome that kind of that perseverance type thing we were talking about before. And whenever we do that, we come out the other side stronger, like the better communication skills, understanding more what inspires the other person. And then it just seems to make our relationship better. I mean, we marvel, the two of us, like pretty much every day at how much better our relationship is now than when we first got married. And it was great when we first got married. And it just gets better and better and better. And the time we spend together, and we try to do our date nights every week. And we do a pretty darn good job of that. It just becomes just this connection. And then when you start to see that same kind of love and that same passion and that same communication with your own kids as they get older, and you start to see kind of that reflected in you. And sometimes you'll see the negatives of your personality kind of reflected. It's like, oh, Ethan, why are you doing that? And he goes like, oh, wait, he's doing that because he learned it from me. Darn it, I better change that. You'll see they're a total reflection, and that could be good or bad, and it's probably a little mixture of both. But but you find that when you see that it's a reflection of the really good things, and sometimes you think good things you don't even necessarily know. We don't necessarily think that we're special in our marriage, but as we kind of see other things, we go like, okay, maybe there is something that we're doing right, and it's and when it's reflected back to us in the way Ethan and his sister Avery kind of interact with each other, when they're interacting in a good way, which is most of the time, but not always all the time. But when we see those kinds of things, go, oh wow, they're very respectful to one another. They're very kind of happy. They enjoy each other's company. They might disagree on certain things, but they kind of work it out. And it goes like, I think they learned that from us. So it kind of just reinforces that what we're doing, as a couple ourselves, which is somewhat selfish for the two of us, but ends up being this selfless act that also kind of spreads into the rest of the family. And I kind of see like this project in kind of an odd way is that same thing, as we can project kind of the things that have worked in our family, the things that we really enjoy to do, our passions, just kind of projects it back out. And we've really seen that with just the feedback we've gotten from our friends and then like total strangers and all that kind of stuff has really been just so positive that it's kind of fun to see that. It's another reflection. It's just kind of it's like expanding our family out in a little bit larger circle, over and over. And it'd be nice to see others maybe take on to make a little bit of that effort to create that connection, both with the husband and wife, and then also with the parents and children. And then maybe there would be less of these kind of disjointed kind of family units, if that's at all possible. I mean, I would love to see that, because we've known some wonderful people that have had some very happy times in their relationships with each other and with their families, that just kind of goes away.
Do those sound effects come with the game?
If you donate $6,000, maybe.
Donate. All right. Check written. Do you accept PayPal? I think that Ethan becomes like this divorce attorney. He's like, oh, another one. Then the sound effects like make them fall in love again because they think he's so cute and they want to have babies again. Yeah, Ethan, the love maker, the love reuniter. So I think that's a big, what you just said is family stuff. They say it takes a community to raise a kid, and I think that's what we're lacking now, is that the communities are online, long distance people. There's no touch, there's no oxytocin, there's no support, there's no team. A lot of it is doing things inside. And so what I heard you say, Dr. Ken, is that you guys have had a passion for growing together, and you have made your children part of that, is growing with you. And the awareness is huge. I want to get into, celebrating this, because of course, everybody's probably wondering now, okay, so Ethan wrote this script, and they did this take, and you guys saw the video. And then the next thing that happened is what? You put it on Kickstarter, and then what happened?
We took out our goal in like 6 hours or 3 hours. We put it up in the parks. Or where did we put it up? Somewhere in San Francisco.
Yeah, just at the venue.
And yeah, the venue. And from there, just kind of like, I remember saying it hit 440, and then I got kicked out of the venue, and then it hit 2,000, and then it hit 2,500, and then by the time I woke up in the morning, it was like 10,000, and it just kept on growing and growing. And it's kind of amazing that you can do that too.
Who's you?
The people watching, and you, and just anybody can do it if they try, but nobody will try.
Yeah, what do you think that's holding us back from trying? Fear of stuff?
Yeah, just lack of confidence. Like sometimes if you aren't raised properly, then sometimes you aren't as confident or as you're as much as a go-getter. It's all about, like, it falls kind of on the parents' shoulders if you aren't raised correctly. That, like, I learned from him to persevere and stuff. And if you do have that, it's just a lot easier. But still, you can do it. It's just easier, I guess.
Well, Nathan, you're still pretty young, so your only role models are probably somewhat limited to, your parents, maybe some teachers, and then some, kind of celebrities that you'll probably never run into, never meet. But as you get older, you'll start to find that you'll be attracted to other mentors, people that can kind of teach you. I mean, I learned a great deal from my parents, but I also have taken on other mentors in my life that have kind of taught me, even more about how to succeed in different ways. My parents had taught me what great, wonderful things, but they still had their world of experience was a certain set that applied to them. But I've met other people that had different experiences that I was able to learn from. I learn from Diane all the time. Her area of expertise is so completely different than my area of expertise. I don't expect to ever know everything that she does, but I don't have to. I have her as a resource. So when I have a patient that needs something that's beyond what my skill set can help with, I know I can come to her. So you'll find that, yes, the parenting thing is very important, and it's huge for you right now. But I think you'll also find that you'll find other mentors, and you do have some other mentors. You want to talk about some of your teachers and stuff that maybe inspired you?
I have teachers.
That's specific.
And
So
they
profound.
helped me. Some of my teachers have just spread the word a ton. Like, she even got the principal to get me to talk in front of the whole school at one point. And
Who's your teacher?
Mrs. Delgado.
Yep.
She's a 4th grade teacher here at Irvine at my elementary school. And yeah.
We've had a lot of wonderful support. The support's been fantastic.
Oh, there's a couple of devil's advocate here I want to play. And some of them are real life, and some of them are just what I know people are probably thinking right now. And this is one of the things that you can do instead of watching an hour of TV with your children. This is one thing that you could do instead, is watch this and get some GMO gluten-free popcorn. So Dr. Ken, there was some reservations that you had when he came to you, and he said, I want to do this idea. I have this idea. And you were thinking, there's, in your mind, you were thinking something, but you didn't say it to him. And what was that?
Let's see. Well, there were a couple of things that kind of went through our head. Is one, that when he wanted to do the project, I thought it was great. I thought it'd be a great learning experience, just kind of in business and in kind of the perseverance thing. Sometimes, Ethan's very good in school, and certain subjects come to him very easily. But what sometimes happen is, if he does end up getting like a more challenging type of subject, he'll kind of try it and maybe kind of stop a little bit early. So we wanted to do this as kind of an actual learning experience for perseverance, and it ended up kind of backfiring because we ended up getting so much great response going forward. It was never really much of a push. It was kind of fascinating in that regard. So Ethan's head just got bigger and bigger as he ended up being right and I ended up being wrong. But but that's just kind of how. But that's kind of.
What was that face? What was the emotions behind that face, Ethan?
I thought that he meant something besides that I was smarter than him.
No big head, ego head. Smarter.
Ego's a tool, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, so other than that, there weren't. So it was more kind of like a perseverance thing. There was also some just reservation that it wouldn't be an easy project. It'd be something we would that rather than it being kind of a positive learning experience, it would be a negative one. I guess you could say that was kind of my fear of failure, kind of speaking up, going and it took a long time to find who to even contact before we even made that first effort. So I think there was something where I had to do it. So in a way, Ethan inspired me. He didn't just say like, "Oh, really? You don't think they're going to do it? Okay, we won't even try then." He was like, "No, like, why aren't you doing this? Like, Dad, you said you're going to do this. Like, it's been 2 weeks now. It's been 2 months now. It's like, what the heck's wrong with you? Like, why haven't we contacted them? Why haven't we learned Swedish so we can call them on the phone?" Like, so he was the one kind of pushing me, which is good because it was if I hadn't had that same kind of push, it very easily could have just been. It could have been easy for me to say, "Oh, it's just going to be a lot of extra work." And yes, it's kind of fun, but it's probably be 95%, work and not very rewarding, and 5% fun. And that's like, we could go play a video game and have way more fun and have it be less stressful. So it was definitely a good kind of combination partnership in that regard.
So Ethan is the best accountability partner ever. Can I hire you?
I don't know. How much are we talking, like paycheck wise?
Well, you did say 6,000 earlier, something about 6,000, right?
A minute? Is that 6,000 a minute?
Yeah.
Minute. Okay, perfect. Deal. Done. Oh, wait, I should do a little Shark Tank action.
There you go.
How about 5,999?
That works.
Negotiation.
I'll take it.
So what I asked that question for, Dr. Ken, is because I remember you telling me a story about feeling like, oh gosh, this could be a lot of work, but it's his passion project. And it's just the way that you said it, and you didn't think it was going to go as far as it did, and you kept getting surprised by it. And and I was surprised by it too because of the way that you positioned it. But of course, extraordinarily celebratory. And I remember as a kid, and this is no fault of my parents. It's just that everybody carries their fears into their future, and then they pass that down generation to generation. And actually, I don't know if we talked about this last time, Dr. Ken, but there's now studies that is in people's DNA too, is that we pass down our emotions and trauma. And so I remember my parents, when I'd say something like, I wanted to go to Europe for school. And when I said I wanted to go to London for university, they were like, why? Why do you want to do that? And I was like, are you kidding me? To go have a foreign abroad experience and live in another country and work in another country and travel in another country? They were not stoked on it. But then 3 years later, after I graduated college, when I got invited to play pro soccer in Germany, my mom was all about it. But the college thing, it wasn't so much. There was a lot of reservations. There was a lot of fear. My mom tends to worry a lot. And so it's been a mission of my own as I flew away on my own to be less fearful. And so when you say that it's the parent's job, and you guys can both speak to this, I say as someone who, and I'm not an extreme on this, but let's just say, friends of yours who have parents who don't support them very much, what are they going to do? And when they get older, when they're not in the home anymore, where can they get their confidence? Like, can they buy confidence from you at the rate of $6,000 with free shipping and it'll show up in one day?
You can get it from mentors. Mentors help you a lot. I've learned a lot from my mentors. That they inspire you and they push you every single day that you're with them, and you just keep on growing and growing in every way. Like I remember Dad telling me one time, that's the reason that we go to school, isn't to learn about reading, because you don't need to know how to spell encyclopedia. You need to learn the confidence and skills to make a living for yourself, and that's what it's preparing you for.
Yeah, college is kind of that same way too. Like when you talk about going off to London, I think what you learn in undergraduate, in college, you memorize, what kind of skills can you create for yourself, what kind of confidence is. And I think a big part of it is one of my mentors, Mitch Thrower, is what he's really big into is perception, is how you perceive the world. And when your perception is very limited to this very small space in a very small amount of opinions, like everybody has the same political view, everybody has the same view, watches the same TV shows, does the same job, it becomes this kind of a self-limiting belief. But when you open up your perception, your awareness of the world around you, like going off to college in London, let's say, then you can see that, like, wow, there are people that do entirely different things. They think entirely differently. They carry themselves in a different way. They have a totally different expectation of life, and they lead their lives in a different way. Now, some of that stuff you may not care for. You say, oh, I don't like that. But it's a good contrast. You can say, good, it reinforces what I'm doing that's right. But you might also see some things like, wow, that's completely different than what my friends do back home, but I think I like that better. I think I want to incorporate that. So then you can kind of take all those things, everything you learn from your friends and your family and your mentors, and even your enemies, or whatever it is.
Yeah, totally. I learned a lot from it.
Or whatever. You take all those things in together, and you kind of craft your own kind of belief system, and do what you want to do. And not everybody's going to want to take on huge projects that are very risky. It's or that are going to involve a lot of time that may end up failing and turning into nothing. They might want to go for something that's more steady and kind of predictable. It's just everyone has to kind of find their own comfort level. And unfortunately, that's when you get issues even when families, where a family members, the parents might have a certain expectation, something that they're very comfortable with, and the kids have an entirely different view of the world, and that's where they can kind of conflict. But I think you have to kind of go with your gut, go with your instinct, and try to really pursue life in the way you think is best for you, because we're all totally unique. I think you just have to kind of respect that to a degree. And I think that's kind of where your college years and stuff like that are really important. You can use the term like finding yourself, which I'm not necessarily a big fan of that term, but I understand the concept. And there is something to that. Like you have to discover what makes you tick, and what drives you, what's you're passionate about, what you're not passionate about, what you will not do under any circumstances, and take those things kind of together to form kind of to choose the course you want to take for your life.
Yeah, that's that establishing boundaries thing that we've talked a lot about in this project. Is it's one of the quotes that I love that I used in yoga a lot is, maybe life is not about becoming who you are, excuse me, learning who you are, but becoming who you're not. So learning what of these faces and identities that we project out into the world are actually our truth. So I wanted to ask on that note, Ethan, do you have friends that, I guess I should reposition it. Your friends, you probably had to have had a conglomerate of people who, some were like positioning it in, oh, why would you do that? And then they were your critics. And then you had some that were your biggest cheerleaders. And then there were some that were just silently observing. And so can you talk about your friends and how they influenced you, and how much they influenced you in this whole thing?
There was a lot of people. There was really nobody who really criticized it. Like, not really. I think that happens more in the adult world than in the young person world.
That's true.
When it comes to like peanut butter and jelly, though, then you have the criticizing stuff. But otherwise, there's just the cheerleaders and the people who just silently stalk you. And there's a lot of both of them, but just nobody really is going to criticize you, because they're the only ding-dong person in the world who's going to criticize you, because it's a pretty positive place. Pretty positive.
What do you say?
Pretty positive.
It's pretty positive. What is it?
Just the whole world. The whole world, it can support you or silently stalk you, but it's not really going to criticize you. It's just people are going to let you do your thing, and they might not help you at all, because like, what's in it for them? But sometimes it's just like, what's the point in criticizing someone? Don't criticize someone unless they criticize you first.
And if they do criticize, it's, you can take it for what it's worth. It might be, you can take the information from it and use it to improve what you're doing, or you just say, okay, it's not really helping me, so you can kind of ignore it.
Or you can come up with a comeback.
That's true. Hopefully a funny video.
Of course. Yes, of course. Yeah, that was a mic drop moment right there for you, Ethan. From what from what I've seen. That was a mic drop moment is that somehow we learn these things. We learn to develop these fears, and they are a tool. I think that there's parts of them that are a tool. Like our ego doesn't want to experience that pain again. And so it's like, don't do that because this. And then we make these extreme formulas that if this, then that, because in the past, this is what happened. And 99% of these thoughts that we have don't ever happen. And so, you know, we're missing out on 100% of our life if we're consumed by these 99% untruths. And so what you just said is that adults do this. So how in your youth right now, you're 10, you said in one of the questions that I sent you an email, you said, grow up, never. Mm-hmm. How are you going to ensure that as you do age, you won't become one of these grown-ups who are afraid and who care too much about what other people think and who have so many fears that they don't end up following their dreams?
I'm just gonna keep on building on what I have now, because like earlier in the in this video, I said that when you make something, it inspires you to go further with it and go further with it. And if you just keep on going, nothing's gonna be able to stop you at some point, and nothing can stop you. So if you start early, it's a lot easier, I think.
I agree. I've always thought if I was 4 years old and learned to snowboard, I probably wouldn't have fallen on my shoulder and dislocated it. And then hence I might have not have met Dr. Ken. Mm-hmm. So what if they said no to you, Ethan? What if they had said, nope, thank you for all of your efforts, but we are not interested at this time?
Then I would listen to him. Mm-hmm. And we'd keep on we'd contact them on Facebook and on
stalk
Twitter
them.
And everything. Okay. Yeah, stalk them. And
yep.
Eventually they'll listen to you, probably.
Actually, then we did we almost kind of went into, and I guess this is probably the wrong approach, and that's something I'm learning every day as well, is that I kind of was banking on the fact that they would say no, that they would turn it down, in a way. But so we originally made the game, we didn't call it Magica Mayhem, we called it Magic Mayhem. They called it Magic Mayhem, and they called it the Magica card game, with the idea that if they didn't like the idea, we could still make it on our own. We would just have to make some changes so that we wouldn't really be using their specific intellectual property. So I kind of had like a backdoor escape in case. But the idea really was that we wanted to kind of work with them, because they just have so many great resources, and it's a great company we've liked for a long time. So that was definitely our big goal, and we wanted to push for it. But there was always in the back of our minds that if they did give us a hard no, and they say, under no circumstances will we do this. If you ask us again, we're going to sick our lawyers on you. And we'd say, okay, it's not quite worth that. But then we would still make it happen. We would still make it happen with what we created. What we created is unique. It's not an exact copy of what they've created. It's a beautiful melding between what they've developed themselves in the video game and what we've come up with in the card game. So if we had to, we could have kind of gone off on our own and done it. It would have been probably even more difficult. I don't think we would have seen nearly as much success as we had with their support. Their support's been absolutely invaluable. But I think we still would have done that. We would have been, if our Kickstarter had done, $2,000, $3,000, I think we would have been thrilled, even if we were doing that completely on our own, just because we would have had something physical that we could share with the world, and just see how much farther that we could take that kind of on our own. So but it's been really nice that it's been a lot better than that. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it's kind of like going on Shark Tank, and even though they say, no, we're not interested, and they walk off, they still got publicity. There's still something that came out of it.
Definitely. And or good advice or whatever.
Yeah, good advice. And just like props to you for just showing up and just taking risks, because that is one of the top 10 guaranteed ways to be unhappy, is to not take risk. And from what I've seen and experienced and observed and read, Ethan, is that there are approximately 5 to 10% of us who really go out on a limb and take risk. And you're a major, major leader and a force for your group, and even inspiring adults. So maybe you've heard that quote by, I think it was Brene Brown. Yeah, Brene Brown. I seem to quote her a lot lately. The question is, do you, when you're doing this, when you're taking a risk, do you jump for the experience or the landing? And it sounds to me like you did this. You took risk more for the experience than the outcome. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And what have you learned in this process?
I learned not to give up and just pursue your dreams, because like the only thing that can go wrong is you. Like if your own fears are just going to come true if you believe that they're going to come true. Otherwise, they won't. And so if you just do it, then it'll work a lot easier for everyone.
Laws of attraction. The thing, Ethan, when I hear games, video games, I see overweight, over complacent, underconfident, undernourished, under community children. And I see a future of zombies, right? So my question for you on that,
right.
he is told, so I say this is like a documentary card game as opposed to like, you know, a fiction thing. I do believe in the zombie apocalypse. I can see it every day, Ethan, so I totally know what you mean. How would you, what advice would you give to children and families to keep a balance between health, happiness, family, you know, investing time outside? How would you recommend people prioritize that and actually make it actionable steps that they can do daily, so they can maybe have time to play card games with their families like this? You're already very successful, in my opinion, at what you're doing to keep a balance. So what are you currently doing where you feel as though as a family you are balanced and you get a little bit of a dose of everything, and it's not just all video games, it's not all zombie training?
It's when you have, and then part of it too is, I think we were talking too about like critics. Like he didn't get too many critics in the way of friends at school. And I think part of it is when you kind of know who you are and you know what your passions are and where the direction you're going in, that you automatically attract people that have similar goals to yourself, and you tend to repel people that don't have those goals. So you just don't have them around you as much. And I think the more active and vibrant and kind of the larger your community is, you just start to, it kind of fills in with those people that are there to support you, and you're also supporting them. And sometimes the support you give them actually kind of feeds back and say, oh, you know what, you should do this. And you go, wait a minute, I'm not doing that. I better, so you do that and I'll do it too. So it ends up kind of feeding, it becomes this thing. And I know it's like my community of patients, I learned so much from them. It's like that, I feel like they're like my closest friends, and I get so many different, impressions. And there are, the type of treatment that I do and the type of philosophy that I have about kind of life and health and wellness is it's unique, and there are people that I'm going to attract with that, and there are people that don't want to hear it, and I will repel them. And then when I was first in practice, that kind of made me sad that I couldn't be all things to all people. But you can't be that. You have to be really good and really dedicated to what you do best, and then you have to really not worry about the things you're not good at and have no interest in. So it's so I just find that I learn more about myself by interacting with my own patients. And I think what Ethan's kind of saying is his community of friends and their parents, and our family members, that kind of, and his teachers and his mentors, that community helps to kind of drive you forward. And then nowadays the communities, it's a lot easier to, and in some ways, to make communities. Like with social media, you can, if you have a very unique skill set or a talent or an interest that you can't find in, say, your little town in the Midwest, you can branch out with people all over the world that have that same thing. You can create your own community that way. So it's there's a lot of opportunities. I mean, social media can be kind of criticized, for some of the bad things, or zombifying a lot of people. But I think there's also a lot of positives to it, because it's very good at community building, very good at bringing people together that have this common purpose, this common passion, and then and giving them the tools to drive that forward. So I like that. I didn't actually think I didn't think that would be his answer, but I like that one. That's a very powerful way of looking at it.
Yeah, community is definitely lacking today. Like today, when people, I'm developing an IgG allergy to, and I literally itched my nose when I said that, to when people send me a text or an email and say, hey, can we talk on the phone later? And I'm like, no, can we just meet in person and like maybe play a card game or something, and just like touch each other's hand and say hi or something, and get out? Can we just get out in nature? I'm developing an allergy to that. So there's community in different places. You don't always need to be in front of each other, but I like that you said that this brings family together, because I think that's the biggest piece of what we're missing today is community and feeling like we have support, because there's a lot of people who are lost out there now. And Ethan, kids as young as you now are feeling like they need to fit in. There's this drive to fit in. And sadly, adolescents are one of the highest populations that the medical community is targeting now to put them on an antidepressant early. So I don't know if we need to get too deep into that. I think I don't want to end on a sad note, but that's what I hope to inspire on the other end of that, is that you, just like Ethan said, you can make your life as you want it. And if you want to guarantee yourself unhappiness, it's to stay in your turtle shell and to not take risks. There's nothing Teenage Mutant Ninja about that, about staying in your shell. Those turtles were relentless. They were out there and they were fighting for what they believed in. So I want to end on what I do with everybody is ask them what three actionable items that you each would recommend that people can do today that are easier, maybe not too complicated yet, but I always like to say they're big impact and easier to do so that they can give themselves little tiny crumbs of confidence toward becoming more like you, Ethan, inspired and motivated, and nothing is going to stop me kind of an attitude because this is my dream. So what three things would you recommend? Kids and adults.
I'd recommend first creating a dream. You should have a dream and you should then go out and get it. And once you go out and get it, your confidence, like I said, it builds up and builds up and builds up. And that brings us to our second reason, which is just keep on building your confidence and do what you do best. Don't do what you don't like. Like, I think we were talking with a PR person, and he said that you should only do what you like and what you're good at, not what you're bad and what you don't like. And so keep on doing that and keep on doing what you're doing and grooving. And then lastly is just create a happy life for yourself. Like, if you implement these reasons that we talked about throughout the whole video today, is just do it. Go out and do it. And if you implement all these things, you can you'll have, your life will be so much better and you'll be so much happier.
Yeah, those are three. Those were pretty much: have a dream, don't do what you don't like, and just do it. I mean, it's straight up like Nike, but better. Awesome, Ethan. Thank you, honey. And then what about you, Dr. Ken?
I would say I'm kind of a big fan of planning ahead, and really kind of knowing what direction. If you just kind of just do what pops in front of you, you're going to be scattered in all kinds of different directions. So I think know what it is that you want to succeed. And maybe it's not necessarily succeeding in terms of how much money you make, or succeeding in like you say, the experience versus kind of the where your feet land. It's you want to enjoy that experience, but you also want it to be focused in a direction so that it actually moves you in the right direction. So I'd say so kind of set a goal for yourself. It doesn't have to be incredibly specific, but it has to be in the right direction that you want your life to go in. And I'd say one of the easiest things you could probably do right now to really inspire yourself and then kind of build up the community, kind of Ethan was talking about, is just ask your loved ones what motivates them. Like, what are they passionate about? And this is something that I've done for many years, and I love it. Sometimes it can become a distraction because I'll get so interested in other people's passions and helping them that it might take me away from what I'm doing. But at the same time, I'm loving it and I'm enjoying the experience and I'm generally learning something from it. So I'd say just, offer to help and just ask somebody like, what drives you, what inspires you, and how can I help you do that? That's a very easy one to do. To ask that of your spouse or your good friend, of your kids. What would really inspire you? It's like, and you'll probably be very surprised by the answer, because a lot of us are very afraid to say what it is because they're afraid it's like, oh, now if I don't do it, you're gonna consider me a loser. It's like, no,
right.
Put it out there, and then let's move towards it. So you'd actually probably be very surprised if you ask somebody what is it that you're just absolutely passionate about, that goes, I would love to climb Mount Everest. Like, what? Like, I've never even seen you go on a hike. It's like, but yes, it's like, it's funny when they close it off and they just kind of, they discard it as a goal and they don't move forward. And once you can start to help somebody else with those, it kind of gives you the motivation to kind of do it yourself. Kind of like working with Ethan on this project, it inspires me to go, it's like, okay, what am I afraid of? What's holding me back?
Right.
And kind of the third thing I would say is I think you mentioned about this before, is like, what do you talk about with what do you focus on in terms of like the health, the happiness, prosperity kind of thing? And I kind of feel like if you lead with the happiness, if you know what makes you happy, and if you really work to make the people around you happy, then you'll find that the need to improve your health and the need to improve your prosperity will kind of become very evident. Like they'll become very clear. But if you just focus on health only, which is still very important, but if you only focus on your health, or if you only focus on prosperity, maybe in the form of just making money, you may totally miss the happiness boat. So you have to I think you have to lead with the happiness, like find out what it is that you really want. Do you want more money, or do you want more time? Do you want more quality of this, or do you want less of that? You know, those things will do it. And once you go, it's like, okay, great. Now I know what to do. Why don't I have more happiness? And they'll say, oh, it's because I can't play Monster with my kids because I'm so winded after running around for 5 minutes. Well, then I need to focus on my health. It's like, oh gosh, you know, the kids really want to go on a vacation to New York City. It was like, wow, that's going to cost a lot of money. I'm going to have to focus a little bit on my prosperity in order to make that money so we can make that happen. So then if you kind of start with the happiness and know what it is you would truly make you happy, not what you think will make you happy, what you know will make you happy, then you can actually focus on what other aspects, the health part of it or the happiness part of it, that will make that happiness become a reality. So that'd probably be my 3 takeaways.
Yeah, and on that third one, I feel like it's a chronic problem where so many people, when you ask them what do they want with their life, you know, as a nutritionist, that's the number one thing, you know, and you and I talk about this all the time, like what things can't you do right now because of this pain or because of, you know, the symptom. And it's like people, like we said last time, if their dream isn't bigger than their nightmare, then all we're doing is just suppressing symptoms, and we're not a hero, we're just a Band-Aid. So it's like, what really makes you happy, I think for some, and Ethan hit this on the head earlier when he said that, you know, he was acknowledging that you two as parents have been such great motivators for him to follow his dreams, and that is a big weight, our upbringing on why we are successful or why we do chase our dreams, and why we have the awareness of what makes us happy. And if we don't have that childhood, then it might take more years later on. It might take more work to keep peeling these layers, these superficial layers of what we have developed to survive, you know, whether it's the media or trying to fit in, or survival instincts because you're in a bad neighborhood and you're growing up with violence. So there's all these layers to peel back of trauma to finally discover what truly makes you happy instead of what the media or society tells you should make you happy. And I think that, and I want to commend you so much, Dr. Ken, on cultivating that creativity and exploration with the kids, and for me too. I mean, I'm kind of like one of your kids in that regard, you know, when we're mentors to each other, but it cultivates freedom instead of, you know, living vicariously and saying, hey, you're going to do this because when I was a child, I didn't succeed at this, so therefore you must be successful at this. And then it becomes like this kind of Hitler approach. So Ethan, do you feel like you had a lot of freedom creating this project? Did you feel free? Did you ever feel confined?
Not really. I just felt free. Yeah, we just kind of let it fly. And as soon as we got past a bump, there was another bump, but we still got past it. And we just pushed forward as a family. And it brought us together. It was like a pretty good bonding experience.
Did you guys ever yell at each other?
Nope.
I think we get frustrated at different times, or we disagree at different times. But I think it didn't become not too terribly stressful, because it was definitely, again, with this project, we started with we kind of led with the happiness, like, well, this would be so fun if we could do this. And then if it stopped being fun, I don't know if the other rewards, the more tangible rewards, would have been enough to really drive us to continue. So we had to kind of continue to have it fun. And that also, I think, kind of reflects itself in the game too, because the game is pretty darn fun and it's really silly, and it kind of is a real reflection of our personalities. And on working on the project too, it's like we kind of balance each other out. I mean, Ethan's kind of the front man. He's done all the real visible type of stuff. He's very strategic in his thinking, so he's kind of come with a lot of the mechanics of the game and that kind of thing. And I have a little bit of kind of a graphic design background from back when I was putting myself through college. So I kind of be the one that kind of makes the cards look pretty, and I'd and then we'd both kind of work a little bit on text. Like he would write up some of the text for obviously did the script for the videos, and then he would do some of the text for the Kickstarter page, and I would do some of the other text for the Kickstarter page, and we'd kind of work together on that, on like the text for the cards. So it's really been a kind of a collaboration where we kind of our strengths and weaknesses kind of match pretty nicely. So it's been pretty good. And then we also, it is kind of a family endeavor. My wife, she's kind of the logistics thinker. So she's the one that's very good with the schedules and making sure to keep your focus. Like, oh, let's go work on this over here. It's like, I know that sounds like fun, but that's not going to move the project forward. Maybe you need to work on this thing over here first, and then kind of get that kind of going. So she's been very helpful in keeping the creativity from going like spinning out of control. Like sometimes you can just disappear into creativity for 15 years and never accomplish anything. The creativity,
right, the dreamers.
It has to be a creativity with a purpose. So she helps to kind of rein in our creativity, to make sure it's okay, let's do this first. And once you've achieved a certain success there, then you can take it to the next level.
Ethan, what if you could define happiness? How would you define it?
I would define happiness as just what you do. It's something that everyone should have at some point in your life, and it's something that you can make, because if you work hard enough, you can have happiness, and you just have to work for it. But if you like what you do and you're good at it, then you're gonna be happy. You're gonna flourish. You're gonna be happy. And so happiness is something that you can have and you can earn if you work for it, and if you have the proper tools and mentors and just people in your life. You can do whatever you want with happiness. It's like Play-Doh.
Absolutely. Oh, it is like Play-Doh. What a great one.
It's like Play-Doh.
It is. It doesn't always mold the way that you think it's going to, but and chronic happiness is not the goal, but knowing that it's something, just like I said in my intro video, happiness is something that we make. And Ethan just summed it up. So thanks, you guys, so much for being here today. I love your mission. I love your project. And for the followers, I'll put your guys' links below so that people can follow you and support you and learn from you and adopt you as maybe their distance mentors, electronic mentors, so to speak, because I know you're going somewhere with all of this. Thank you, Dr. Ken, for raising amazing children. All right, guys, knock it out with your project. The best of luck to you both. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Bye.